Hello, my name is Matthew Litzenberger, and today we're going to be answering and taking a look at the question, how is the real estate market affected by an election? Today we're going to be using the Midwest Real Estate Data Weekly Market Snapshot, and this report is one of my favorite charts, which is chart number 8. So chart number 8 showcases real estate showing activity in Midwest Real Estate Data Multiple Listing Service. This is based on showing activity that is gathered through showing time when used on listings. We're going to take a look at 3 different parts of the year. So we're going to take a look at the anomaly that was COVID. We're going to take a look at the 4th of July weekend, and then we're going to look at the election weekend and the end of the year. So to understand this chart fully, on the left side, this is going to give you change from first week of the year. So this is saying relative to the baseline of the first week of the year, showing activity is based off of that baseline. So the software looks at the first couple of weeks through the year, and then that's the baseline. And then relative to that, it increases or decreases. And then on the bottom part of this graph, you have time. So beginning of the year and then end of the year. We're going to take a look at 2020, 2021, 22, 23, and 24. First, we're going to look at is COVID. So taking a look here, you can see that this big cliff, this big drop off was, if we were to ask the question, how much did COVID affect the real estate market activity? And this would help answer that. So there was if we look at the percentages here, at the bottom, it was a negative 42% of activity. So relative to of 2020, relative to the first of the year, there was negative almost about, there was no showing. There was next to nothing. And then you can see it rebounds a little bit. It's interesting to look at these 2 years together, 2020 and 2024. You know the answer to this, by the way. If I was to, before I hover over it, if I was to ask you to guess what these valleys would be, what I call icicles would be throughout the line of the year, you'd be able to figure it out. This one during the middle of the year is the 4th of July. Makes sense, right? 4th of July weekend, some buyers aren't going to be looking at properties because they have plans or whatever else the reason may be. So now that we looked at COVID, to kind of give you a frame of reference about how this chart works, let's take a look at the 4th of July weekend. I'm going to zoom in here, so the chart's going to change. So you can see over these multiple years that there is this drop off in showing activity that happens during the 4th of July weekend, and then it bounces back. So it's this like a skip. It's like, hey, we're not going to look at this weekend, but we'll look at it next weekend. Which brings us to our question. So, hey, Matthew, how much does the real estate market get affected by an election? If we take a look at the last quarter of the year, you're going to see that the election week I thought it would be more. However, you can take a look at other relative popular weekends like the end of November and New Year's. They do cause more of a decrease in showing activity than, say, an election would. So I can't predict the future. So with that being said, I'm not able to tell you what's going to happen this time. But if based on historical trends, you will see somewhat of a decrease and then back up a little bit for the remainder of November. People will take back off during the holiday week, and then it'll bounce back up, and then the end of the year, and then you're back to the new year. My name is Matthew Litzenberger. I'll see you on the next one.